episode of the Meet Kevin Show. In today's episode, we get to talk to the creator of the channel AI Addict, which I'm really excited about because I love talking AI because this is the future of what we're trying to do in our world, to figure out how artificial intelligence is going to make driving and just life easier, and of course investing easier. But the question is, how do we value these things? And is this technology anywhere even close to ready? And so I thought, well, you know what better person to potentially reach out to? And there are going to be some things that obviously we can't talk about, but a person who was just fired, and I'm sorry about this, from Tesla. You've got to go to their channel, AI Addict, and check out a video of them showing their Tesla Model 3 hitting a plastic bollard while on FSD, full self-driving activated. We talked about this a few days ago, and they were kind enough to come on the channel. So here we go. Welcome aboard, AI Addict. Go check them out, and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm AI Addict. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. For those of you guys who have so far, I know there's some of you guys on both sides of the aisle, and I'm hoping here I can answer some of your questions to help you understand why my channel exists.
Awesome. Yeah. So I gotta know, when we do analysis on car companies, obviously the big thing for us is we're looking at units produced times average selling price, and there we go, right? And we take off a margin. A lot of folks are trying to figure out, hey, what is the value of autonomy in the future? And it's like, hey, we're gonna have robo taxis in 2025. We're gonna have them in 2030. It's gonna be 2040. If you had to guess, when do you think we'll actually see robo taxis?
Yeah, it's interesting because Elon always tried to sell, or has said, that Tesla will be able to be a robo taxi and help the owner make money on the side in the future. In my opinion, I would probably have to say level 4 by 2025, in my opinion, is when I think we'll see major things. However, we're seeing Cruise, San Francisco right now doing some robo-taxi stuff. I'm not sure what level they're operating at, but I mean, with that right now occurring in 2022, who knows what could come in 2023, 2024.
Okay, so for those who aren't familiar, right now we've got a lot of this sort of, like, I believe, level 2.5, we would call it, kind of full self-driving, where there's a driver in the seat, you got to take over at any point, or maybe FSD might almost be a version of 3. 4 would almost be, would you even have a driver in the seat on 4? I know 5 would be fully autonomous, probably no even
5 should be fully autonomous. 4, you can have probably someone in the vehicle doesn't really have to take over on the steering wheel, but it's there if it has to. And then level 3, you definitely still need a person in the vehicle.
Got it. Like okay.
Behind the wheel.
And so you think level 4, that is, by 2024 is actually a realistic expectation that mainstream, we should be like, wow, yeah, cars driving themselves, this is normal.
Obviously, just my opinion. Yes, that would be my opinion with what I know and from what I see publicly through a lot of these other corporations going out there, such as like Pony AI, Cruise, and other ones out there. I mean, some of them aren't doing so well, and some of them are doing really good. I mean, you have your Waymos out there as well. So everyone has their own approach. So we have no idea when exactly we'll hit there, but I see some of these companies probably getting close.
Wow, that's incredible. So, what is it with Google and Waymo? It seems like Google, they just buy a bunch of companies, but then they kind of get stuck. And it seems like sometimes they don't really progress as far as maybe Waymo, let's say, as an example, would have if it were just still Waymo. Is Google slowing these things down? What's happening? Why is Waymo taking so long to get going? I mean, I think they're doing full level 5, but only in certain mapped square areas of Arizona.
Well, I mean, I do know Google, when they first launched Waymo, publication long far ago, they said that they did get to level 3 autonomy, I believe it was, and they gave it to company employees just to take these vehicles out at night or on weekends. And they saw in the internal cameras, most of them were on their laptop or falling asleep or on the phone. And then they made it their mission. They're not going to make a vehicle out there unless it's level 4 or above. So wow. I believe that's probably the reason why they're doing what they do. But as for them buying companies, acquiring things like that, I can't speak to Google, but I know other corporations and C-suite executives I've spoken to at big billion-dollar companies here in Silicon Valley that I can't really speak to or say publicly, but they've said a lot of them as C-blank O's would buy or acquire companies with a vision for them, but then eventually get caught with the bureaucracy and politics internally where they can't actually get their vision because other people want it. The salespeople need one thing, the accountants need another. Everyone has to blend the vision together, so you can't get to what their ultimate vision was. And so eventually most of these people usually just leave the big multi-billion-dollar companies and start their own startup where they can start fresh and actually have hands-on ability to control where it goes in the future.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I can
And
only
maybe
imagine the
Google's getting
politics.
caught by those same bureaucracies possibly, but I can't
Sure. Yeah,
comment.
that makes a lot of sense. Is that why maybe Ford just announced that they're going to separate out their electric division. I wonder if they're also trying to like micro down their any kind of autonomy division that they might be
Yeah.
working on. What's your take on these legacy automakers? Do they even have a chance? Like GM, you mentioned Cruise, Ford.
I can comment. I had an interview with GM last week, actually, to be ADAS validations or something on their ADAS team. And the second question in the interview, when they found out I didn't have an actual engineering degree, they told me straight up on the phone, sorry, we're going to hang up. We don't hire anyone that doesn't have a degree. And I'm like, well, just because, but however, you see some of these companies are using Luminar. And that kid made that without a degree because what was he, like 16, 18 or something when we made that
high school,
technology? Yeah, it's like, so Silicon Valley clearly has a different culture than Michigan and these other legacies because they, might still, like GM over here has a hard policy that might be a little outdated compared to what we might see here in the Valley that allows fast innovation. I think they might be onto something and might be in the right direction. I mean, Ford has, was it Blue Cruise? I've not been able to test it myself, but from what I've seen, it might be on the right direction, but I can't comment.
Yeah, we got a comment here. Do you have anything to say to this one?
What?
I just put it up on screen there.
Yeah, is that Elon Musk? No.
No, we won't go there. That's funny. That's priceless.
That is, wow, astonishing. Hey, I still love the man. We do have to say that. A lot of respect for Tesla. They have a great mission statement. I still love my car. Still refer to people. Don't not buy their products because of what happened to me. I think this is a good example of a discussion or starting point to create discussion on how to maybe have better practices going forward and how to maybe make things better and improve them to get to where we all want to be, which is full self-driving. And I'm still passionate about that software. And these bugs, unfortunately, exist, but I'm here to help find them.
That's awesome. That's good. What do you think about a company like Lucid? Lucid, they say, hey, we're going to build the car. We're going to put all these LiDAR sensors in and all these cameras, but we don't have a software suite. Somebody's going to be able to plug into this. Maybe Apple, maybe NVIDIA, or, whatever other company. What's your take on this? Is it that easy? Qualcomm's another one. Apparently, they're all working on autonomous, yet you never see, oh, yeah, here's the Qualcomm. Although NVIDIA, I think, had some partnerships with Neo, for example.
I mean, I think plug and play is a very interesting approach. I did have discussions with Apple for some work with them where they were doing a plug and play, I believe. I don't really know the exact specifics, so I didn't take the role. But in my opinion, I think it could look a little goofy because what sensors am I going to have to put in my car to make it plug and play? Unless I can integrate them into the bumpers and things like that, kind of like how Tesla has the camera system that's very sleek and refined. So I believe that there are companies out there such as like Phantom AI. They do a great job at this integration that you just talked about plug and play, or they're at least trying to develop that. But I don't really know much about what some of these other firms are doing. But it's a possibility.
Yeah, how advanced really is AI these days? I mean, we have like a little AI, for example, that we train, a little neural net for identifying real estate deals, for example. But some of the things the AI thinks is good, I look at it like I see, you could see where the computers are still getting confused, is what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
What's your take on this? Are computers ever going to get to this like full artificial reality, or in 10 years from now, are we going to look and go, yeah, it is a computer and it is stupid,
I mean, I will say is that when I first got into AI machine learning, it was at the very beginning when IBM was debuting Watson, and I was working with a company called Mist Systems creating Jarvis, which was part of an indoor location engineering location device using Bluetooth Low Energy, Wi-Fi, machine learning, and everything. So I was on the very forefront of some of that stuff. And at the time, yeah, it was advanced, but it was really hard to find, like, the word we like to use, a valley of happiness, where the AI knows what's going on and ignores everything outside of that queue, basically, or that valley. And we've come a very long way in those 5-6 years that I've seen this technology. However, real AI is very hard to solve. It takes a lot of computing power, I mean. And I mean, I don't know if we're there yet. You see Elon's tweets, who knows? But we've come a very long way, and I could see it a possibility in the near future, definitely by the end of the decade.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, in terms of investing, is investing into these AI companies that you mentioned, whether it's Cruise through GM or these other companies, is this a big priority for you right now, or are you looking at, for now, for your personal investments, you're going to invest in something maybe more established, like let's just go with Apple or Google that has some exposure to AI, but more like here's something people can buy right now that's really good because the AI is just still out there.
Yeah, no worries. I would say, like, you're asking my personal profile and things like that.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, outside of like what people at a firm and not managing profiles and what family members might gift me, etc., my like personal Robinhood, what I buy and invest, trade on a daily, 100% EV technology and in green renewable climate change technologies.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So
which I will admit has hurt me a little bit during the COVID and the Ukraine a bit, but we're still in there, never sold.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the last few months have been a little rough, just in general, since about December. But would you choose something more like a charging company, like a ChargePoint, let's say, or Blink, or are you into like the solar inverter companies like SolarEdge, Enphase, or more just cars?
I'm more in battery technology, I would say.
Okay.
BYD, back in, I believe it's 2007, 2008, they were in the forefront of these LFP batteries. I believe that's what the acronym is. And now you see companies like Tesla and others converting their cars to LFP batteries to basically
iron phosphate, right?
I believe that's what the composition is. And then BYD was on the forefront inventing this, I believe, back in the 2008, 2007 era. And now everyone's going to it. So they had a big advantage, and Warren Buffett, made a big investment in that battery technology back then too. So for me, it's like BYD, but then when it comes to EV, when it comes to battery technology, I'd say everything else, cars, Lucid, Rivian, Tesla, whatever I can get my hands on, Neo, everything like that. It doesn't matter if it's Chinese, American, as long as I see a value in it, I want to invest in it. And if I see it,
okay. So, and how long did you work in if you could say, what did you do at your job, and how long were you there?
Yeah, I'll just kind of graze the surface a little bit there.
Yeah. Keep it. Obviously, you just left Tesla, so keep it very limited in terms of what you're allowed to say. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Certainly. Joined August 10th, 2020 as a data annotation specialist. My role was to take images and label them and annotate them and import them into the neural network for the full self-driving stack, whether it be freeway or city streets, can learn from that annotations to drive itself and improve the software stack. I did that for many months. I also was a driver collecting this data that would be the images. And then after doing that for a very long time, I came back in January of 2022 as an ADAS test operator. Didn't last very long though, because I was fired in February 11th, 2022. An ADAS test operator was someone who would go through and test all the like level two safety programs, whether it be software or hardware, to make sure they were safe for the customer before they got pushed.
That makes sense. And then now the computers, the things you're labeling, are these videos or are they pictures that you have to label?
Both.
Both. Okay, that's
yeah. I mean, a video has keyframes, and so you can have images in a video. That's all I'll say.
Oh, I see. Okay, so for example, like if I'm in like Final Cut, and I'm just trying to make it relevant to YouTube, for example, it's like, I want this little image to go across the screen, and I keyframe it across the screen. You would almost kind of do that in reverse, like, yeah, that is a stop sign as it kind of moves by, so to speak.
No comment.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, no worries, no worries. That's really interesting. Okay, so
yeah, no comment.
Okay, that's fair. So, what about all in on EV? Are you trying to diversify it all from EV, or is this just where like this is what you live and breathe, you love it?
I just think we're in a revolution right now that, a lot of people see it, and some of these stocks might be overinflated. Not going to say which ones or whatnot,
Sure.
because I have lost a lot of value in some of them that were. However, I do see it as being like the old three, like Ford, GM, like Dodge, Chrysler, all those people. I feel the new ones are going to be the Valley, like Rivian, Lucid, Tesla, and all these new age companies. And so right now I feel like we're where Apple stock was maybe in the 80s, and you never know where that could go.
Oh wow, that's incredible. So you
Personally.
think the EV companies right now, even though they're going through all this crazy volatility, it's almost like everybody making fun of Steve Jobs coming out with the Mac in what 84 or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you feel EVs are.
I would say so a little bit. I mean, there's comparisons, not exact, obviously.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's wild because really, I think when we think of a lot of the electric vehicle companies that we've been investing in, for even just the last 5 years or whatever here, it feels like the stocks have kind of done this exponential run up, and that it's like, we've already had the exponential run, can't
Yeah.
have any more. But it almost, if you're talking about the 80s, it almost kind of makes me feel like if we zoomed out, if we had the potential to do that over the next few decades, we might just be at the beginning of that S curve. Is that kind of how you feel with EVs?
We could be in the middle. Like I would say we're in the like first third, I'd say of that, maybe.
First third. Okay.
And you have to remember, like companies like Tesla, they're not just a car company. They're a battery company, a software company, an AI company, a mining company, a manufacturing. They have dozens and dozens of different types of how do I say industries that they're really revolutionizing and taking a lot of profits from as well, not just the car market. And so some of these other companies relate as well. And so when people value as a car company, it's like you might value it too high as a car company, but it's not just a car company. It's a
Yeah,
lot
that's
more
a really
underneath
good
that you
point.
don't realize.
Yeah, why do you think nobody else seems to be trying to push as hard as Tesla, like the other companies, on just trying to get the entire supply chain stack, essentially, where I should say more vertically integrated, right? Where they're
Yeah.
producing their own batteries, they're producing their own, AI software for self-driving. A lot of them, like I said, Lucid. Like, hey, they started out doing batteries, but now they're looking for the plug and play on.
Yeah.
On their ADAS. What's your take on that? Is it just hard?
I mean, it always takes money to make money. Obviously, it takes probably hundreds of millions to billions of dollars to invest in these infrastructures, and you might not even see it pay off right away. And I would have to say, like companies like Tesla are fortunate that they do have I would have to guess the cash flow to be able to do this and then revolutionize all these processes. And I would say a lot of them are just legacy. They're slow. They just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you ever get like tempted to get into the fintechs or crypto or NFTs or any of that?
Yeah, I was in cryptos a lot back in like 2010 to 2015, and then I just logged off. And then back in 2020 or so, a couple months into my Tesla job, I logged back into Bitrex, and it said I had $148 million in Bitcoin. And
Oh
I
my
was like, no fucking way. But then after like a 3-day ordeal, it turns out it was a algorithm error. I only had like $2,000, and I
no,
swore I'm never going back to crypto after that
no way.
nightmare of I'm rich, I'm poor.
Oh my gosh, no kidding. That's terrible. That's like
Yeah,
that's like
I
having
had
a
something like
dream about winning the lottery.
2,400 bitcoins. It told me. I was like, oh
Oh,
man, I can quit Tesla. Then
yeah.
like the next day, I was like, oh, going back to Tesla.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's like, winning the lottery and then waking up,
Yeah,
which is
exactly,
terrible.
exactly.
Jeez. Okay, so, the reason I asked that is because I think it's interesting. You seem so confident in EV that you're not really tempted by the other stuff, the
Yeah.
fintechs, the other companies, the SPACs, the whatever. It's just give me batteries, give me EVs. I mean, you didn't say a word about solar, even when I asked you. It's just, dude, I just want EVs. Am I
Yeah,
right?
I would say that's the thing with solar is that I'm fascinated by it, and there might be a lot of good companies. I just bought my first house a year ago.
Oh,
Trying to
congrats.
get solar. I'm trying to get solar on it, but I've dealt with a lot of horrible companies with a lot of sleazy salesmen, and a year later, I still don't have it. So I haven't had the experience to really understand like what the life is like to have it. So I haven't really invested in it because I only like to invest in things that I personally own or have seen
Yeah,
firsthand.
good. That's a really good principle. What
Yeah.
uh, What's your electricity bill?
I have 5 people that live in the house, and it's probably like 270 a month, 250 a month.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe that might make sense. You know, get yourself 10, 15. Were you in NorCal?
Yeah, we're on
Okay.
PG&E. Yeah,
Oh, nice.
same
Okay.
price
All right.
gouge, but it's not bad because just down the street is a public free Tesla charger. So every day I
Oh,
just fill up my car for free. So like,
oh,
while
that's
everyone's
amazing.
spending $100 on gas, my electricity on my car is at least free.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Do you still have what was it? I think the 17 and 18 models got free self-driving or free supercharging.
There was some deals like that floated around. Unfortunately, no. I got the 2021 model, and it did
Hmm.
come with 1 year free supercharging. But
Ah,
3 months into my free supercharging, Tesla saw my YouTube channel or something like that. I'm just gonna throw speculation. I don't know, and removed it from my car, saying that I
oh no.
apparently used multiple promotions on the purchase of the vehicle because I used the
Oh,
employee perk with FSD.
I see. Okay,
Yeah,
stacked benefits or whatever.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Bummer. What about oh gosh, what else? I mean, I mean, geez, what am I missing? What should I be asking you about EVs? I mean, there's so much. China
I
versus the United States. Who's gonna win?
I mean, whew, China. I mean, I don't want to get too much into them, as I obviously we don't what we might see over here is not obviously what might be going on over there. I don't know exactly, but because I we don't see those cars. But I hear
Yeah.
that BYD just came out with a competitor to the Model 3. Very interesting. That I heard it blatantly cuts the price on what the 3 is at. Fully optioned out, the BYD is cheaper than the starting Model 3, I hear, and apparently it's a lot more luxurious and offers some self-driving technology as well. So China is making some amazing battery packs, some amazing cars, and doing some good self-driving technology. But obviously, there's those tariffs and those taxes coming to America if we ever want to see them. So will we ever see them? Who knows? But they are
Yeah.
doing some stuff over there. So whatever we are doing here right now, I think is safe because I don't think their technology will come overseas anytime soon with the tariffs.
That makes sense. What about investing in China? Are you trying to keep that as like a smaller portion, or are you equally weighting them to US?
I'd say like China portions less than 10%.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
So mostly here. Got it. Got it. What about so you're thinking level 4, 2024. When do you think I'm going to be able to just like Uber a level 5 and just never have to deal with somebody yapping at me in an Uber again because I'm tired of talking to people in Ubers?
I'm gonna spin that question a little bit because we're gonna ignore level 5
Okay.
and just pretend like there's no levels. Maybe next week because Cruise apparently is doing those drives in San Francisco. So Cruise, if you're watching, I signed up for your thing. I'm apparently in a queue. Haven't got to my email in months. Send it to me. I'd love to review your technology.
Wow.
But you know, I've seen Cruise apparently has done hundreds of successful drives with no one ever in the front seat of the vehicle or in the passenger front. And so who knows? I know they're not last time I read about it, they weren't allowed to charge for those rides, but they were allowed to give the rides. So there are some companies that are doing it now, but when it comes to what I have on my car, just getting into your own personal vehicle, what you can buy from a company and doing it and going to Safer or something without Uber, I'd say if we're lucky, maybe 2025, 2024,
Okay.
but probably definitely by 2030.
By 2030, for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
grandparents are going to be on board as well, huh?
Yeah, I would hope
Because they
so.
seem really reluctant these days. I see every grandparent I talk to is like, self-driving car? Nope, never, not in my lifetime, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I will say like it is at a level like I'll give you a personal example. My mom trained 3 au pairs back in the 90s to drive when they were young, and they both all 3 of them totaled the car with her in it. And so
Oh,
she refused to even get in the car with any of us kids. Even to this day, she wouldn't get in the car with me really. And then I showed her FSD beta, she got in it, and she actually said she was amazed and trusted it and loved it. And so, and this is a person who won't even get a car with me or like her husband. You know what I mean? And so there are some people who are skeptical about things who are starting to be open to it when they see it firsthand or experience behind the wheel. But I think it's very easy to hate it or be against it when you just see it on the sidelines on the internet or driving by you.
got it. Yeah, that makes sense. What about if you know? There's a lot of talk about hydrogen, especially with Nikola last year. Everybody was all about hydrogen. What is this? Is just you know, nonsense, or is there any future in hydrogen from what you believe?
Oh, this is an interesting topic. I always talk a lot with my friends about this, trying to theorize things for it. Hydrogen, I think it was interesting for a while, unless they can create like a little machine that can recycle the water instead of the water coming out the gas pipe. If they can have that go back into the machine, recreate hydrogen, and then go back in it, so that way you don't have to refill up. Like, and so right now, let's say it takes 700 miles to fill on a hydrogen tank, but if you can recycle that water, then maybe every 2,000 miles you fill up, because it's recycling 90% every time or 80% every time. But
Sure.
until we can like make that safe and small enough to go inside a car, I don't think hydrogen will outweigh EV, basically, in my opinion. But who knows? Technology can always advance, and we could always see it coming in the future more.
Y'all ever talk about EV-tolls in your group?
What was that? Oh yeah,
Is it-
eVTOLs.
yeah.
I only heard about it a month ago when I was seeing like a Reddit post about what Tesla's into, and one of them said it was an eVTOLs, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I had to
Yeah.
look them up.
Got
But
it.
no,
Okay.
never talk
Okay.
about them. Yeah, just
Okay.
very
Gotcha.
just small knowledge.
We'll start with cars first. No on hydrogen and flying cars and electric vehicle. Vertical takeoff and landing. We'll save that for the future. Okay.
I would love to see that. I mean, if we can figure out how to get those drone blades not to chop me off when I fall off of it, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Oh my gosh. Okay, that makes sense. What about chip manufacturers? Any favorites? You stay away from the chip manufacturers as well. I mean, everybody's all up about Taiwan Semiconductors, AMD, Nvidia. They're cheaper now. Buy.
Well, so I used to work for Intel in their neural network server lab, and their chips are outdated compared to what other people like AMD are doing when it comes to their server chips. I believe at the time, obviously not now, but at the time I was working there, Intel was stuck at a 10 nanometer, or they were at 14 nanometer. Well, the competition was at a 6 nanometer, and it was just like they kind of failed. They were losing all their contracts. They lost the Apple gig, everything like that. So for me, I think the best chip maker out there right now could possibly be Tesla when they come out with some of these new chips. Because I've been
Wow.
theorizing, or sorry, what I've been seeing in the public has been that Tesla is making some chips that can do 1.2 exaflops with Dojo and things like that. If when paired together, when they actually do put that online, I think it will revolutionize how chips are made for AI instead of for GPUs and stuff, such as how NVIDIA are doing it, and Intel and AMD. But NVIDIA still makes good chips. I know Intel. Sorry, I know. I think a lot of companies are using NVIDIA chips in their self-driving cars as well, and just for their typical ECUs. But I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait to see what Dojo brings.
Yeah. What's an ECU?
Electric computer unit.
Is that like
Computing
that's
unit.
like a battery management kind of style
Yeah,
software?
it's the best way to describe it is every car has basically had one since like the 90s or so. It's the car's brain. It tells it what to do, how to like
Mhm.
shoot the spark, the fuel, and the engine management system, basically.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha, got it. Okay, and so they're essentially uh, everyone's working on making the better version of that to then hopefully integrate into fleets of vehicles. And Tesla's making their own as usual because
Yeah.
they always make their own. Okay,
And they
gotcha.
always do better than everyone else somehow, and it's just astonishing. So
That's
we'll have to
incredible.
see if they can continue to do it.
Do you still have that faith even though you're not there? I mean, like, would you go all in on Tesla still, or would you pick a different company if you had to pick just one?
I mean, the stock's looking pretty cheap to me right now
Okay.
compared to when I've certainly bought it higher. That's all I'll say.
Ah,
So,
okay, gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, deal. Wow. Well, I promised I'd keep you for about 30 minutes. We're about there. Anything you want to add? You've got a YouTube channel. What's the future of your channel? What's the future of you? Where are you gonna go now?
Yeah, certainly. So, a few tangents here. Obviously, we still want to bring FSD beta content to the reviews to the users, so that way they understand where the technology is. Hopefully, our next video will be version 11 if that ever comes out, or if that comes out soon, I should say. We also are transitioning into EV car reviews. So, Lucid, if you're out there, or if you're a car brand who wants your car featured on our channel, you can see our other videos. Just recently did one with Volkswagen. Love to show some brands out there, give honest reviews for and feedback. In addition, we have a project that I guess this will be the first time I mention it, but we've been planning it since January. We're trying to do our own conversion build for some commercial vehicles here in California, and so we're hoping that if we
Like
can
Hyliion.
successfully get these prototypes through our YouTube channel, then we could actually make it a production vehicle.
Would that kind of be like a Hyliion?
What's a Hyliion?
Oh, so that's a company. They do. They take semi trucks, like new semi trucks, and then they throw essentially hybrid motors into them.
Yeah, we're basically going to do that, but all EV motors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, that's the
Okay.
plan. And so,
That's super exciting.
so if you're listening and you have any background on that, go to our channel, AIAddictOfficial@gmail. Send us your resumes because, I mean, obviously this is just a hobby on the side for YouTube as a prototype, but it could turn into maybe something better.
That's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
great. So I've got your channel linked down below. Anything else you want to mention? You got a Twitter? Anything else somebody should follow?
Yeah, Twitter, AIAddict1. Unfortunately, someone got there first.
Yeah.
And then just thank you guys so much for all the support and for, you know, listening in, reading the articles, and feel free to check out my channel. All my reviews are honest. Just what I see is what you see, and feel free to check it out. Thank you guys so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Stand by for one moment. Folks, if you found this video interesting, share it, like it, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.